The oldest pyramid in the world isn't in Egypt, at least according to one of the strangest and most controversial archaeological claims of the 21st century. It's in Bosnia, in the small town of Visoko, and there's proof, at least if you believe the man who discovered it. What if I told you one of the world's largest and most ancient pyramids has been hiding under a forested hill in Bosnia? Not in the deserts of Giza, not in the jungles of Mexico, but in the Balkans, right above a town few had ever heard of until 2005. At first glance, the idea sounds insane, like a conspiracy theory ripped from the pages of a pseudo-history book. But to many, this is not myth or legend, it's reality. The story begins in 2005 when Visoko was just a quiet, picturesque town stitched together by cobblestone streets, red-roofed houses, and rolling hills. It was the kind of place people went to escape history, not to rewrite it. But that year, a man named Samir Osmanagic walked into town, looked up at a hill called Visoko, and saw something nobody else had noticed before, or at least, nobody had ever dared to claim. Osmanagic isn't a conventional archaeologist. In fact, by training, he isn't an archaeologist at all. He's a Bosnian-American businessman who built his career in the United States but carried with him a lifelong obsession with ancient civilizations that defied the official narrative. He had climbed pyramids in Mexico, explored Mayan temples, and studied alternative theories of history. And when he laid eyes on Visoko Hill, something struck him: its geometric shape. The hill had unnaturally flat triangular faces, nearly even slopes, and a plateaued top. To most locals, it was just a hill topped with a medieval fortress, but to Osmanagic it looked eerily familiar. It looked designed. It looked like a pyramid. Intrigued, he began measuring. The slopes angled close to 45 degrees, the kind of precision seen in textbook pyramid construction. Even more astonishingly, the hill's orientation aligned almost perfectly with true north, just like the Great Pyramid of Giza. Was it a coincidence? Osmanagic didn't think so. He dug into old maps, aerial photographs, and historical records, finding more and more hints that this was not just nature at work but deliberate construction. That's when he made the boldest leap of his career. He announced that Visoko Hill was actually a colossal man-made pyramid, older and larger than Giza, built by an unknown civilization thousands of years ago. He named it the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. To the people of Visoko, it sounded ridiculous. For generations, that hill was just part of the landscape, used for hiking, picnicking, and sightseeing. Yet Osmanagic was adamant, and in April 2005 he put his theory to the test. He organized a dig, gathered volunteers, and began peeling back soil and brush from the base of the hill. What they found stunned them. Beneath the surface were massive stone blocks stacked in geometric layers, some so large and neatly arranged that they seemed impossible to be random. Osmanagic took this as the smoking gun, evidence of deliberate construction. Word spread quickly. Photos hit the internet, forums lit up, and the possibility of a hidden pyramid in Europe set imaginations on fire. But as always, proof is controversial. Mainstream geologists said the formations were just natural sedimentary rock fractured by tectonic activity. Bosnia's hills were full of geological oddities. Still, volunteers poured in, convinced that something deeper was buried there. And the deeper they dug, the stranger things became. Osmanagic soon expanded his vision beyond one pyramid. He claimed that Visoko Valley contained an entire pyramid complex, 5 structures named after the sun: moon, earth, dragon, and love. The Pyramid of the Sun, Visoko Hill, was the centerpiece, towering 720 meters above sea level, over 100 meters taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its sides appeared triangular, its summit flat, and its orientation astonishingly precise, deviating from true north by less than 0.2 degrees, rivaling Egyptian accuracy. Nature doesn't build mountains aligned to the compass, critics admitted, but Osmanagic argued this was no accident. It was design. Excavations uncovered more anomalies. Slabs resembling ancient concrete, tested and allegedly found to be stronger than modern construction materials. With compressive strength up to 3 times higher, than what is used in skyscrapers today. If true, this suggested that whoever built it possessed advanced engineering knowledge nearly 30,000 years ago, long before mainstream history acknowledges complex civilizations. Even more bizarre were the tunnels. Beneath the valley, Osmanagic's team uncovered labyrinthine passageways now known as the Ravni tunnels. Unlike natural caves, these passages were filled deliberately with clay-like material. Volunteers clearing them found dry stone walls, chambers, and massive megaliths like the so-called K2 stone, weighing 25 tons and marked with strange inscriptions some believed to be astronomical or symbolic. Even more puzzling, stalactites and water erosion in the tunnels were dated to over 10,000 years ago, meaning the tunnels must have been carved before that time. Suddenly, the mystery wasn't just about pyramids above ground, but about a subterranean network stretching beneath them. The controversy only deepened as Osmanagic pushed the boundaries further. Based on radiocarbon dating of organic material found between stone layers, he claimed the Pyramid of the Sun was 33,000 years old, 20,000 years older than Giza, predating agriculture, metallurgy, and even written language. If true, it would mean that advanced civilizations existed tens of thousands of years before recorded history, rewriting humanity's story. Osmanagic also tied the Bosnian pyramids to global patterns. Pyramids appear worldwide, in Egypt, China, Mexico, Sudan, Indonesia, Peru. And while mainstream archaeology calls this coincidence, Osmanagic argued it was evidence of a lost global civilization connected by sacred geometry and energy technology. The Bosnian Pyramid complex, with its precise cardinal alignments and equilateral formations, seemed to fit this blueprint. He claimed they were not tombs but machines, devices that harness the Earth's natural forces for healing, energy, and consciousness. In his view, history is not a linear progression from primitive to advanced, but a spiral of rise and collapse, with knowledge repeatedly lost and rediscovered. The Bosnian pyramids, if real, were not a primitive beginning but a remnant of forgotten greatness. Critics, however, remained unswayed. They pointed to geological processes that naturally form pyramid-like hills, natural sandstone mistaken for concrete, and wheelbarrow marks in the tunnels suggesting modern excavation. They accused Osmanagic of creating a tourist spectacle rather than uncovering truth. But one thing was undeniable. The project didn't collapse under scrutiny like other pseudo-archaeological claims. Nearly 2 decades later, people still visit Visoko in droves. The pyramids are still debated in documentaries, YouTube videos, and fringe science conferences. Skeptics call it fantasy, believers call it revelation, but both sides keep talking about it. And while mainstream archaeology dismisses Osmanagic as a dreamer or opportunist, history has a way of humbling certainty. The Great Pyramid itself, once thought to be nothing more than a tomb, is now yielding secrets like hidden voids and electromagnetic properties that even science struggles to explain. Perhaps Osmanagic is wrong, perhaps he is a genius, or perhaps he is something in between. What is certain is that the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, whether natural hill or man-made monument, has forced us to ask uncomfortable questions. What if history is wrong? What if pyramids were not just monuments but machines? What if civilization is far older than we dare to admit? Because the strangest part of all is that, whether a hoax, a mistake, or the greatest archaeological discovery of our time, the Bosnian pyramids are still standing, still unexplained, and still challenging the story of human history.